Well, hello, hello, hello. Welcome everybody to Pieces Pat Paints. I'm Pat. We are currently painting this Radagon here. It is from a game called Elden Ring. Been a lot of fun. We're getting near the end on this one, which is great. So I'm super excited about that. Because there's I think there's some more this gentleman wants us to do, and so we'll be moving on into those pieces hopefully. So once we get this one completely finished up, we still have to figure out this arm. We've got to do his little hammer. So there's plenty of stuff left to do, and his toes. We got his feet. We got to do his feet. So plenty of stuff left to do. We'll try to get everything knocked out before we go on to the hard part, which is going to be getting this arm to look like smoke. So that'll be exciting. Try some ideas. And we're going to get to those later on. Probably tomorrow. My goal is to start working on that stuff tomorrow and hopefully have this wrapped up by the end of the week. So that'd be cool. If not, we'll get a little bit more done on Monday, and we'll get then we'll know where we're going from there. Just depends on how it goes with getting that effect in there for us. So, but we are going to do a little bit of glow effect today when we work on this hammer. So that'll be fun. Really exciting. And we still have this other part to this model. I'm not exactly sure what they wanted us to do with this thing. If it was just like a bonus. It's a pretty sturdy piece of resin, so it flops around. I'm thinking maybe something like this, and we'll paint it up like the gold, like the Elden Ring symbol, and we'll just set it on him here. It'll help break up some of the color here, because he's all one color really. So having a piece down here to kind of show it off, the whole Elden Ring off, might be nice. So we'll think about that. Is once we get this part done, we got to do this base, which this base is a pretty simple one. We're just gonna go ahead and probably some bronze and stuff like that to get this to look good. So we got all that. That's gonna be exciting. Okay. Um, let's turn on some music and we're gonna get started. There's a bunch of boys in my house today, so they're making a lot of noise. Hopefully, it's not we don't hear it too much on the mic. They're in the other room, so should be fine. A little bit of music and me running my mouth, and they should be only audible to me. All right, a little bit of hydration. Oh, where'd our little towel go? So I've been using these towels um, instead of a like a paper towel, just because of the disposable part of it. I stopped kind of wanting to be that way in life. I started kind of wanting to be less throw it away and more green, if you will. I like the idea of being more green. Makes more sense in the long run. All right, so get this guy getting wet, ready to rock and roll and do its thing. All right, so from what it looked like in the game, a lot of this is made out of masonry and stuff. But these more edged pieces, I almost kind of want to bring another metal in it, because it is kind of hard to tell what it is from the actual game and stuff. It moves so quickly and it's all lit up, but a little bit of a rough iron may look really nice here, and just give us a little bit of a color break. That's an army painter color. Rough iron. Not listed in there. And it's going to be super dark, so it's not going to make a huge difference to the overall color scheme of stuff. But it'd be nice, I think. At least for like the spike. Now, of course, this is all going to be masonry colored. But I like the idea of making part of this metal and part of it rock. I've seen lots of different interpretations of it from the fan art, and they draw it differently depending on who's doing the art. Because it really is one of those things that it's moving around in the game so often you can't really tell what it is. And we're just going to give it a nice... Oh, that's my drinking water. I almost stuck my brush in it. Hopefully I didn't. Doesn't look like it. Be alright. I don't want to drink the acrylic. That's not a good idea, guys. That's plastic. We don't want to drink it. I mean, we already have enough microplastics in our system. We don't need to add to that. Holy moly. Microplastic. That's funny. And terrifying. Funny, not funny. Again, and this metal color is so dark against that black that it really... It's going to be a perfect color, I think, for this. It's going to help us break up what's going on. And it looks like it honestly looks like a weather vane. He ripped off of a lightning rod. He ripped off the top of a castle tower and started hammering things with. In the game, it's used to both break and attempt to repair the Elden Ring. Again, I my knowledge base of Elden Ring is limited to a few hours of watching some lore videos. But it seems really cool. It seems like a very, very interesting game. Very in-depth lore. They really invested a lot of time and effort in it, which is great. It's a really cool way to... If you're going to have the games, that's kind of what you want them to do. Okay. Now I want to make this stone slightly different than the stone color of his body. So how we're going to do that is we're going to use ochre like we did last time, but instead of going for black, we're going to mix it over here with this Payne's gray. And it's going to give us a slightly different color than the black and white does. Now this first round is just going to be our underneath color. And it's going to look pretty green. Especially on this black. You get that base color in there. It's like a green-gray. And the main way to change this color, the overall color, is to change your base colors in. And then when we go back and we kind of add the layers of the lighter colors, that's mainly just varying shades of white anyway. So the big idea is to vary the change of tone and color underneath in the crevices, because white picks up colors from other colors. So if something's white around somewhere, then it's gonna pick those colors up. So if you've got like a gray, green, brown underneath it, then when we get around to the end of this, that's what the white's gonna reflect. This was more of a yellowish, more yellow. This is gonna be more green, and so that'll give us a distinction. And it'll be important when we get to this hand to have that distinction, so that we'll be able to see the differences in the parts, and not just like a line with a paint line or a wash or whatever we do. And it will be better if those colors are actually slightly different, if that makes sense. I tell you what, I really enjoy painting this guy. Holding on to this one is super easy compared to some of the tiny little things I paint. It's been nice to have a really big thing to paint on. It's like, oh wow, just no problem. My hands don't cramp as much with this either, these bigger pieces. And it doesn't lack any of the detail either. This thing has got a lot of detail. Now remember, this is our base coat, so it's going to go on everywhere. We're trying to get all the little nooks and crannies. Don't really worry too much about brush stroke. Just get it in there. We don't want it to be too black underneath. There's going to be some places where, obviously you're not going to be able to get to it, or whatever, and that'll be okay. One of the main things you want to watch with your paintbrushes is make sure you're not getting too far up on the foal, and that's the metal piece at the top. We want to stay off of that. And once I've kind of decided on a color, I try to mix it in the same place. That way I can match it up. Now, I'm really good at doing that, but now I've done it a lot, so it's going to look easy for me. And it just takes practice. So you just want to just keep working at it. If you struggle with mixing colors, don't be afraid. With these things, worst comes to worst, you just pop that sucker in some alcohol and take it off there. Or some LA is totally awesome. Actually, I don't know about alcohol and resin. I'd have to check that one. Don't take my word for that. Honestly, don't know. That was the old way we used to do things. If you needed to strip down, if it was plastic, you used rubbing alcohol. Now they use that. LA is totally awesome. Apparently, it works really well. I haven't done any stripping plastic lately, so I don't know. But we do have some pieces we're going to need to strip. I'm really digging this yellow green here. He's got a lot of golden light shining off of this thing anyway, so this background color is really going to help us kind of sell a little bit of that, with it being a golden green colors underneath for the already. Just help us sell it. Just make sure we're getting good mixed. Alright, there we go. It's taking quite a bit of this paint to get this done too, so that's great. It's nice to mix up a good batch of paint there. That's another fun thing about the larger model, is that you have a little bit more opportunity to mix larger batches of stuff. So you got to remember that too. If you're a mixer, then and you're painting a larger piece, you need to make sure you're mixing plenty. Opened the windows up in the studio today. It's been wonderful. The cats love it. They have been in the windows for the better part of the day after it stopped raining. It was raining earlier this morning, but it's lovely. It's lovely right now. Smells amazing. Love the fresh air coming in. With that coming, that means, or with spring coming, being able to open the windows, we'll be able to start printing again. I am very careful about printing just because it's so toxic. You got to be super careful. Schedule prints, and then like I keep this room sealed off while we're printing, and I have some powerful fans I use to cycle the air out of this particular room. And I'm not in here without a mask, and I don't spend a lot of time in here in general even with a mask, just because printing is super dangerous. Although I do have several filters that help. I mean, I tried to buy like all the stuff because I have lung issues as it is, and I'm like, forget this. This stuff's gonna kill me. I'm not no spring chicken. So I started. We started moving it. First, we started trying to get filters, and then we started moving it around, find a better place, and that's when we finally. This room became the studio. And we figured out how to open it up and pipe the air out, and it's been good. It's been a good choice. Back to mixing again. Almost starting to feel like I need to get a palette knife. Although I don't know if you want to use a palette knife on a wet palette. Probably tear the papers. You're completely honest there. There's not really much need for palette knifing and palette knives in miniature painting on a regular basis. It's not a tool that's required for it. Again, a lot of it's about knowing your colors and seeing your colors and understanding colors if you want to mix. But you don't have to do that. You don't have to do like I'm doing where I'm mixing two colors. You can easily buy colors that look a certain way that you want, and then you do the same thing. As you can see, as that starts to tone in, it's going to look nice. just kind of a different color rock, because we want it to look. We definitely want it to look different from him. And this undercoat, this base coat, is the key to ensuring that happening. This second round of it, I'm just being a little bit less forceful with where it's going. I'm trying to let the rock kind of decide where the shadows may lie. I'm going to throw a wash on here in just a little bit. Big old boy. Gotta move him around a lot. Now that I got his hair done, I'm trying to be super careful of where that hair is in relation to my hands. Because you can easily accidentally knock him around with your hands, or might stick him up into the lights or something like that. And then I'd have a conniption fit. I'd lose my mind. I'd be so mad. I might have to stop right there. Like, okay, that's it, guys. We're just going to take a break for the day. We're done. Alright. About an hour. We're going to get another nice hour in today. It'll be good. We're looking great already. We're only at about 20 minutes in. You're painting inside crevices. The main thing to remember is don't get your brush bent too much. You don't want it to make your hairs split out from the fold. These are just like good techniques and good ways to approach your work. See, once that starts to calm down on there, it looks really great. Almost like dirty mustard, but it is definitely the start we're looking for. Alright, so right here, that's part of the masonry. Alright. It's a very interesting angle. I'm not used to painting like this, but I like it because we can see it on the camera. And remember, this is a layered thing. We're going to be putting multiple layers on here. So we want to get that first layer in and set. And then we'll start getting the next layers in. And it may take us several layers to achieve the effect we want, and that's okay because we're setting out to do that. I think sometimes it's really easy to get overly excited and too focused on, oh man, I gotta get to the result really fast or whatever. And this happens to me all the time. I push myself too far or too fast and it doesn't quite come together right. So one of the big keys that I've definitely learned, and I continue to learn through my own folly, is to sometimes trust through your process, continue to work on your layers, don't rush it. Something about rushing art always messes it up. It's back down to that. You can have three things in life. You can have things that are, and you can have any combination of this. It's fast, cheap, and quality. Say quality, well made, whatever, how you want to define quality. And you can get something that's quality on the cheap, but you typically can't get something quality on the cheap quickly. You're not going to get something quickly that's going to be, you get the idea. It's, fast. Fast, high quality, and cheap. So you can get it fast and high quality, but it won't be cheap. You can get it high quality and cheap, but it won't be quick. It's just, like I said, there's just different combinations of that. You can have any two of those things in something. I like this situation here where when I paint miniatures, I could have had this thing done and out of here by now. Just because I only spend an hour of it a day because I'm doing it on the film. So it goes much slower than if I were to be painting it just at my normal, how much I can put in it on a day, per se. So that offers a certain amount of, like, a price break for the time it's going to take. You're getting a good price because you're allowing me to do it on my show and yeah. And see, that's not part of his hand. That's part of this. And see how it's going to be super important to differentiate between where his hand is and where that is. That's why we wanted to change that color. The exact reason why. And we could always make it get darker or something like that, but it's better if we have a color tone to help out with that. It just helps sell the whole thing. Okay. Alright, so it's wash time now. We'll make a little bit of our wash out of our favorite wash color, raw umber. Let's start up here where it's dried. Of course, don't put a wash on wet paint. It won't work. Well, he might Might get to those glow effects today. Now I'm starting to wonder. I got a lot of work to do on this hammer. Might get to those glow. Might be tomorrow before we get to the glow. Hammer just seems like it's upside down to me. I don't know. I didn't create the model. I'm just painting it. That's definitely how his hand's supposed to be. It just seems like the head's on there backwards. But what do I know? Like I said, the game is very strange, so its art style is very unique, and really works. It really works well because it has its own style. It feels like a complete world in a way, that way. Big old airplane flying over. We live not too far from an air facility. Won't say too much about that. Just because it's mysterious. Ah, shit, that's fun. Alright, let that start to set up at this bottom. That's a really wet, loose paint. Like a wash. And again, we're layering up those colors. And this is going to start to look like really old stone as we go. Which is, again, we're going to get that great contrast between what the hammer looks like and what he looks like. He's supposed to be more like granite or something like that. This is definitely a little bit more like ancient stone. And that is what we want. Old sun bleached and whatever. Alright, there we are, about a half an hour for the day so far. Get in your hole. Let him chill for a second. We gotta let that wash dry up a little bit before we can do anything else. And then we'll come back and we're gonna do a little bit more work on the stone itself. It's just wild, like it's cracked and it's a very strange model. I love it. I think it's really outstanding. We'll just give it a little time. We gotta let that wash dry up a little bit. You don't want to mess with it till that wash is all the way dry, because then you'll start spreading around your material and the pigments and stuff. And depending on what kind of wash it is, if it's oil based, it can even strip the paint like square off of it. So you have to like if you're using some sort of an oil wash or some of those street grimes or whatever, then the thing you want to do is wait for it to dry a little bit before you start messing with it, because the oil paint stuff and oil based stuff takes a lot longer to dry. So you'll think, oh, it's dry. It's not really. It just looks pretty dry. There's a technique and a trick. It just takes time and a lot of practice. Lots and lots of practice. If you want to get good at painting, you gotta do it a lot. I feel like I get better all the time, and that's thanks to you guys and this little vlog that we've created for posterity or whatever. Oh, I love coffee, especially when it's like gloomy and rainy out. A good cup of coffee or a hot tea, oh, so fun. Or even hot chocolate, if you like to go with the cocoa thing, it's fine. Oh. We are literally watching paint dry at this point. It's fantastic. Yeah, I really like the metallic on there. I really think that's gonna work out for us. Might put a second coat of that on after we get done with doing the rock stuff, just to smooth it out. As you can see, we're still pretty wet. Spent a long time waiting on this thing to dry. Alright, we're going to start painting those little tentacles here in just a second. So all these little bits coming out of him are like light. They glow. So to do that, we're going to paint them white first. Because we need to really start brightening them up. And it'll give us something to do while the rest of that wash dries. Now don't worry about this if this looks splotchy or whatever. We're gonna put a lot of different color layers on this to make it glow. The main thing we want to do is stay clean against the edges, because we don't want to ruin any of the work we've already been doing over there. So you be super careful. Hey, what's going on, Crypto Mikkel? Good to see you, my friend. We are slowly getting this thing going. Hammer's looking pretty awesome. Waiting for it to dry so we can throw a little bit more color on it. I'll lighten it up significantly from there. And we got all these little tendrils to make white. It's got some sort of fuzz on it. I didn't see it until I started painting it. Lots of handing this guy around from one hand to the other. effects are always interesting. A couple of these filaments. Could just be dust stuff settling. Looks like that one comes through right there. Yeah. Tons of these little guys. That's cool. Like, I knew there were, but as I paint them on there, they really kind of start popping out. And I think that's fun. I start going, oh wow, yeah, look at them all. Even with them just being white, they look cool. We'll definitely gonna make them very glowy. Plenty of yellows down here to do that with. Ooh, that one's a booger. There we go. All right. We're getting pretty dang close to dry on that rock as well, which is great timing. Just be able to leap right over there. We're going to let this white kind of set up a little bit for us before we can do anything to it. It really does seem like this head should be the other way around. I don't know. Mommy, look, it's Pat the Pope. Oh gosh, we can't make those references. This is a family show. I used to be known as a pope of my own sort of religion. But, you know, we don't talk about religion on YouTube. It's a bad idea. Get you demonetized. Not that we're monetized at all. Like, no one cares. Well, you guys do. I got a couple of guys. You guys are amazing. I got people who care. It's always fun to be funny, though. And goof around on the fact that we're tiny. We're definitely a tiny little channel. Which is, you know, again, nothing wrong with that at all. Alright. Little feet pegs. We're still waiting on that stuff to dry a little bit. Okay. This top is dry. We can start up here. So we're just going to take a lot more white, and we're just going to add it to this. And I mean a lot more white. Because we're totally going to need a lot of this. So, you know. And this, we want to do this probably in 2 little rounds. And we're going to lighten it up a second time again. I got all the excess paint off my brush. And the name of the game is Layer, Layer, Layer. We're just kind of barely applying this, really looking to get the raised areas at first. We've done this before. We've talked about this before. Same technique we did on him, on his torso. We're not looking to cover up all the work we already did and all of the Dave says, gentlemen, the guys at the end of the world, at the end of the bar, would like to buy you a drink. Just ask that yours, remembering the rules, no politics and no religion. And in Oklahoma, no discussion of college football. Because that is all 3 of those things combined here. Well, the top of it was a little harder to figure out exactly where to go, since you kind of needed to go everywhere. This one's going to be a little easier on us. We're just going to kind of come through and work these edges. The more raised spots. Dave, cheers, mate. Yeah, cheers for sure. Yeah, it's almost time for them to start talking about football again. The spring training and all that. They'll be talking about it again soon. I haven't actually watched American football since they killed my NFL team, and they brought back some sort of rotting, stinking corpse with a new name. Could have been a good name. I was totally for changing the name, but man, you could have gone with a good name. You didn't even go with a good name. You went with a trash name. SEC. No, man, I don't. I don't watch that much college ball. And I don't know, Oklahoma. Yeah, Oklahoma's in trouble in the SEC, in my opinion. That's a whole different kind of deal. You're not just picking on, Texas A&M or OSU. Now you're fighting Georgia all the time. I rather liked Washington Football Club. Yeah, even that was better than Commanders. That was so stupid. The fans, we all wanted it to be the Warriors, Washington Warriors. It works out. It's great. We can even kind of honor the different types of warriors throughout American history, including the Native Americans and their great warriors, and kept some of our traditions alive and kept some of our stuff. You know what I mean? And no, of course not. No. And it ain't even about like woke or whatever the heck they want to push on the political spectrum. It's just about like, man, you had a good name, and we all were talking about the good name, and you just decided to go with something goofy. There's been all sorts of great warriors across the American history, and we could have celebrated them with the team in Washington. But no, America's got to go and mess it up again. Can't even get it right. Red-skinned potatoes. Hell, I'd rather had that. I'd have rather had it been the red-skinned potatoes than the commanders. This is so goofy. Anyway, at least my Rangers are still in the chase for the title overseas, so I can watch soccer and cheer for a team. Credit Lewis Black, yeah, probably. Yeah, I think he did say that, didn't he? The red-skinned potatoes. It's funny. Oh, gosh. I don't know why we always do that. Society has this thing where, like, we just knee-jerk react to everything. And then, like, once the reaction has started, everybody kind of gets gun-shy about where the lines are supposed to be redrawn for a while. It's weird. World Cup is this summer. Yeah, it's gonna be a good one too. I'm excited. I wish I had the money and the time to go see one of them. But those tickets are ridiculous. I'd much rather go see a concert. Plus, I get to watch soccer all the time. I watch my boys play soccer every weekend. It's great. It's almost more fun to watch them play than it is to watch the pros. Again, guys, what I'm doing here, I'm just finding those edges, finding those spots that stick out the most, and just getting some paint on them, leaving some spots. The other color, especially down in the bottoms, let that wash do that job. Let our undercoats do their jobs. And we're just going to layer by layer bring this guy right back up to where we want it. Again, that difference in the stone colors is really going to sell us. It's really going to help us out. It'll look really perfect. We may not even have to come back with a lighter color. This may work just fine as it is. I'm really going to have to wait and let it dry up a little bit to tell the difference, to see if it's going to work. But gosh, it looks so great so far. I'm really happy with it. This is similar to a dry brush technique, just being a whole lot more careful. With the dry brush, you can get a little bit crazier, but I don't want it to be as full on as a dry brush would make it. I want to have a lot more control over where the paint is going. Here on the bottom, we really don't need to put too much. Just enough to give it some feel and some form. A little color. Yep. Alright, now about to come up to the inside of this. Now the inside really needs to be a lot more of this bright color than the others. Because remember, it's going to be lit up by our orb that's in here doing the glow effect. So we need this stone to be pretty dang bright. And that'll make more sense once we get the rest of the glow effect in there. I think we're going to be doing glow effect tomorrow by the looks of it. I thought I was going to be moving a lot faster than this today, guys. I must be having too much fun. This one, a lot of keeping your brush strokes going in the direction of the light is going to help you out a lot. Whenever doing this kind of work, really got to think about that light source and how it's going to affect the overall look of the model. Like obviously this under here is going to be a lot lighter or a lot darker than down here where we're going to see a lot more of the color. Sweet. Same with this edge. This edge is out. It's kind of a leading edge and it's beveled out. So we want to start that edge down there, and then I'm pulling the rest of that excess paint as I'm working it down towards where that brighter spot was. And as it settles in, it's going to look absolutely fantastic. Heck yeah. Just come through here with the same idea, trying to bring out the tops, let the middles kind of be and again, it's going to look a little weird going on at first, like, oh, it's too bright, it's too bright. It's not. It's going to be okay. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Remember, when it's yellows and whites, it fades a lot more. The color is going to tone way down. I've already seen it over here. No need to get scared. Especially in these areas, because that's all going to be lit up like a Christmas tree anyway. It does look like the sculptor kind of got back here and didn't know what to do, so he just kind of made it up. Which is, I mean, fair, because it's hard to tell on the shots from the video game, you know, what exactly you're looking at. And I'm pretty sure they have to do a little bit of copyright breaking. I think they can't make it exactly the way it is in the game and sell it as a 3D file or print. And back here where it's super important. The whole reason we chose this color was to do back here around these fingers. So we'll make sure we're getting that done. And back here where we left it a lot darker, it will fade darker. So we don't have to stress it so much. Okay. Well, now I really want to start off. I really want to start this other stuff. Okay, I'm gonna get a little bit of this yellow going. And this is just our first coat here. Probably going to do some other stuff with it. I want to take a look really close at exactly what the top golden color of this is. But this is a start. You will definitely not be leaving them this color. They come up pretty bright, so the end color may end up being a white on top of all this, just to get the highlight to come out properly. But it's definitely a gold light, so we want to start with a nice yellow. And if we put these yellows in now, we can use them later when we do trying to make them shine in the different places. Again, your yellows and whites are always going to look better. Layer, 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 layer. It's just part of the game. Alright. Let that dry. This is going to put us in a spot where we're going to be sitting around waiting again. And we're definitely over our hour for today. So we're going to start wrapping this up. Not a lot of people on today. Except for, you know, a few of you, my fine friends. So thanks to Dave and Crypto McKell and Miss Kristen, who I know is watching, and anybody else stop by. Really appreciate you. And all you fine folks who come by and see me afterwards. I know we got a lot of people who like to watch these videos after the fact, and that's super cool. Really, really enjoy that sort of thing. I like that people watch, and I like that people comment. It really makes things, it makes it a whole lot more entertaining for me. I think it's funnier, and it brings more energy and like a better vibe to the whole channel, which is kind of what we want, especially here in these beginning times. It's so good to it's so nice to have some people chiming in here and there, just to know that there's people out there who are watching and they actually pay attention. So, you know, don't mind any of my jokes where I talk about you know, who cares and who doesn't care, because I know everybody does. I'm just being a kind of a butthead. But anyway, here's Mr. Radagon. It's looking great. Hammer's starting to look fantastic. Got a lot more work to go on those glow effects, but once they're done, they're going to look pretty splendiferous. And I'm pretty excited about it. Alright. So, come back tomorrow. See where we get done tomorrow. We'll get this done for sure tomorrow, and then hopefully we'll be into our effects over here. And we'll definitely see how it goes. Anyway, I hope you guys had a lovely day. I had a great day. Hope the rest of your day is great. And we're gonna see you tomorrow. So thank you so much. Bye.